Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the weekly holiday show. I'm your host, Mr. James. Whew, we're almost to, I guess we are in some of the holiday seasons, so many different holidays. Not just because this is a holiday show, but because there are major holidays that people are celebrating all around the world. But we're celebrating the national holidays for America, United States of America, and the ones that are very much not recognized, I guess. Anyways, I'm here with holidays for the week of December 12th through December 18th. Starts on a Monday, ends on a Sunday. You get the deal if you've been here before. And yeah, we're almost to winter edition as we get into next week. So without further ado, it is Monday, Poinsettia Day. It looks like poinsettia. Now, poinsettia is a plant that is red and green. And notice I'm dressed like this in this Bitmoji here because a lot of people associate it with the Christmas season in December because they have it. But it's actually a plant that is from indigenous to Mexico and Central America. And it's a plant that can live for year round if you take care of it. I had one that lived for at least 7 or 8 months, and then I kept it outside when it got too cold, and yeah, just thought it needed sun, and then just the day just changed. Living in Maine, it's like that. But anyways, poinsettias are beautiful, and there's a great song about telling people not to eat one because it can be poisonous. Well, anything that you normally can't eat can be poisonous, basically, to humans, but I guess it's more poisonous to animals, so it just makes them really sick. Don't let them eat it, but definitely have it outside or out of the reach of any animal because it is pretty, and any sort of plant inside will help you possibly breathe better because it helps with the air, right? Remember that? We breathe oxygen and the carbon dioxide cycle between plants and stuff. Remember that? Anyways, look that up. Anyways, on to Tuesday, Violin Day. Na na na. Violin, an amazing instrument that's been around for over 500 years. I have played violin for many years myself, in orchestras, in small bands, in a rock band, all of that stuff. Never played a violin as small as the one in my Bitmoji. That is probably a joke about someone complaining that they're upset and you pretend to play a tiny violin, because the violin is usually associated with people who are overly emotional because the violin has such an emotional sound, very romantic sound. Romantic doesn't have to mean love. Romantic can be overly emotional, just like the style period of music called the Romantic period, which happened in the mid to late 1800s into the early 1900s. So anyways, violin is an amazing instrument. It's been around for a very long time. They've tried to change the way they make it, and they keep coming back to the same design because it's just withstood this test of time. There are violins that are over $5 million. And I'm talking about the Stradivarius violins made over 300 years ago. And then there are violins that are $100 on Amazon, right? That probably don't stay in tune too well. I mean, if you get a handmade instrument, you're going to play a little over $5,000, $5,000 for it, because it does take a while to make an instrument. And if that person put a lot of effort into making it, it will only sound better with age, which means price keeps going up. But then again, if you buy a violin, you spend a lot of money, you should play it and get as much as you can out of it and share your music with the world. Anyways, on to Wednesday, it is Monkey Day. Now, I don't make up these holidays. I think last year when I talked about this holiday, and I think I talked about this specific one, I mentioned that monkeys, simians, the apes, things like that, probably do not make good pets. I've heard they do not make very good pets because they are very strong. Their muscles are denser than our muscles, which means it might not look like they have really big muscles, but because they get a lot more muscle tissue in a smaller space, they have more strength, and they're 2 or 3 times stronger than we think they are anyways. And it's just one of these things that this is an animal that can think a lot more than other animals, that has a larger brain, and it gets into trouble, I guess. At least I've just heard of that. They said, I've seen a few videos of people that say, yeah, don't get this animal as a pet. It's also really expensive, and I believe it's illegal in parts of the US, if not all of the US. But this day could also mean, I guess, giving someone a hug, or the way this Bitmoji looks, or just making maybe something has to do with monkeys. I don't know. You ever heard of monkey bread? It's delicious. It's like a breakfast of little, like, tiny little dough balls and stuff like that, with, like, you peel them apart. Anyways, I don't have a lot to say about this holiday, but yeah, make sure you get a pet that you can take care of and doesn't hurt you. Yeah. Thursday, it's tea day. I have a lot to say about that. I drink tea every day, multiple times a day. It's delicious. Mostly I drink decaf tea. Occasionally, I have some green tea that has a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of caffeine in it. But tea is one of these things that I use every day, like people use coffee. I just love tea. And tea has been around for thousands of years, I believe. It's one of these things that in some countries, they have a designated time during the afternoon. They call tea time. People, a well-known thing in England, right? In the UK, it's tea time. And like an afternoon time to have tea, but their tea is probably black tea, which has caffeine in it because they need a energy boost. Whereas I think people should drink more decaffeinated teas, probably not real teas, because decaf teas usually have herbs and flowers and things like that in it that are not actual tea leaves. Tea leaves are leaves that you pick, and when they're really, really brand new, just grown, you can get something like white tea, and they mature a little bit. You have green tea, and then you dry them and roast them, and then you've got black tea, and there's other different versions, oolong tea, and so many different kinds, pu'er tea. Look into that. Tea is great, and it's one of these things, if you don't want to drink something with sugar or drink something with a lot of caffeine, tea is a great alternative. And yeah, in these winter months that I'm approaching right now, it is definitely something that keeps me going in the morning and throughout the day, because I drink tea throughout the day. So tea on Thursday. Friday, it's chocolate covered day. Chocolate covered anything. Yeah, you can pretty much dip anything in chocolate, and most people will eat it. That's including pickles, and they do sell those. Yeah. But here's the thing. You don't have to dip everything into chocolate. I think you should find a good chocolate that you like and maybe put it on top of something that you think can make it a little bit better. And there you go. Share that with some friends. Or if you want to do a chocolate fondue, which is like melty chocolate where people dip things in, do that and try some things like fruit or crackers or something that's not as sweet. And then you add the chocolate in to make the sweetness, right? I always like pairing something that's not sweet with something that is sweet. It makes that today really special. But you will see places that sell chips and things that you're like, why did they dip that in chocolate? Because they think you're going to buy it. That's why, right? Oreos, one Oreo dipped in chocolate, and now the Oreo cost 5 times as expensive, 5 times as much. Wow. But try dipping something in chocolate that day, except for your toes. Probably don't want to do that anyways. But moving on to Saturday, it's maple syrup day. Now that's something you probably could dip something into, right? Like French toast. Or you could drizzle on pancakes or crepes or anything else. There's so many different things you can have. So maple syrup, something comes from the maple tree. You take the sap from a maple tree, you cook it down, and I believe 40 gallons of that sap turn into 1 gallon of maple syrup. Here in Maine, where I am, there is a Maine Maple Sunday, and that's sometime later in the year after the winter is slowly thawing out, and they have maple syrup tasting. They have different versions of candy they make with maple syrup, and maple syrup is great. I love that. That's my, like, if I'm going to have sugar of anything, I'll have maple syrup, or I'll have dates, which are really good for you as well. And it just sweetens up everything. I don't go overboard. Just a little bit is good. But you can find maple syrup pretty much everywhere. I think it's shipped all over the world, and Canada is a really big supplier of that because I believe it's these maple trees after having gone through a coal spell where everything kind of all their sap collects into the trunk of the tree where you can actually take the sap out. So you need that sort of temperature difference. So anyways, last holiday this week is Migrants Day. Migrants, are we all not migrants? I mean, do we all live where we have been forever? Now, talking as a person who's not really, really old, yes, I've been living in this state forever. Well, I lived in another state for a little while, but I came back to the state. But if you think about it, if we trace our lineage, maybe we all have we don't all have roots in the same place where we live. And this sort of thing of migrating to some other place for something better, a better opportunity, is a great thing. I mean, this is what the United States were founded upon. Is we found a different place to live, right? And some of us came because we wanted to. Some of us didn't want to come, and we were forced to. But here we are right now, and we try to make something better every single day that we're here. And that's what I believe in. I think we should make everything better every day that we're around. And yeah, could say so many things about migrants. If you want to hear about how this country was founded, notice that because there were people here way before the founding fathers were. But if you want to hear a nice version of it, a nice way it's told, look up the Hamilton musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And yeah, so much to explore there. So anyways, please take care of each other. We have some holidays approaching that a lot of people celebrate. Take care of those people, your family, everything, and have some maple syrup next time you have breakfast, I guess, and keep celebrating.